Two, one. All right. What's going on, Roman? How you living?
I'm good. I'm good.
Anything fun going on in your life lately?
Not really. Not really.
I love it. Well, let's get straight into the news then. So, today I wanted to talk about a story that I saw that I thought was pretty interesting where Dell stock actually went down yesterday after the company warned that AI spending will not be linear. And I thought that this story was really interesting because the stock fell 12%, which is a pretty big amount given the fact that they're generating almost $100 billion in revenue a quarter. But their revenue guidance fell because what Dell is telling their stakeholders is that even though AI is going to have a big future, they're worried about the inconsistent returns of the AI industry. So the way that they describe this is by saying that they believe that growth will not be linear. So I'm just curious, in your opinion, do you agree with the Dell CEO statements? How do you feel about AI growth? Is it something you can predict? Does it jump all over the place?
To be fair, I'm not entirely sure what they'll do within AI, but I actually saw something recently which I thought was quite interesting. So that like AI models kind of they're really really expensive to make, but it's kind of they only make money for like a few months because it'd be a few months and then a new model comes out and then no one wants to use that old model. And they take so much money and time to like train and stuff. So it's like you've kind of got this thing that no one really uses it.
You save up all your money to get the brand new pair of shoes, and then a new pair of shoes comes out the next day, and you don't have the new pair of shoes anymore.
Yeah, I wonder how long it's going to be until some companies just kind of give up because it gets to a point where if you can't hit that frontier, it's like, are you making any money?
Yeah, I mean, especially with the amount of money that people are now pouring into not only training the models, but marketing the models and building the products around the models, all of a sudden you're going to be looking at around $1 trillion. And I think some of these people that are spending 100, 200 billion are going to say, hey, let's just combine our forces here. Let's not work against each other. Let's just work together.
Well, I'm curious. Do you think you can market a model so like kind of in the sense where you kind of see all the benchmarks and it's kind of the ones that perform the best. Usually that is the marketing. But do you feel like it's kind of like traditional marketing where you kind of have branding to a model?
Yeah, no, there's definitely, I think, some marketing around the models. I don't know how closely you followed, for example, the release of Gemini, but I think that the marketing around that model was made in a way that some engineers were turned off right from the start, right? Even, for example, figuring out what you want the default prompt to be with your LLM. So if someone asks, like, what's the weather like outside? All the frontier models will give you the same answer, but they'll give you the answer differently. So I think even thinking in terms of like, someone could probably release like a pirate themed LLM where it's a normal LLM, but it talks like a pirate and there'd be a community for it, right? Because people would be like, oh, this is cool. So I think going back to what you talked about the other day, like one of the ways that AI companies can stand out right now is by having a real community, right? And if you have sort of a unique product and a unique marketing proposition, well, anyone who comes through your door is going to be interested. So
Yeah, it's actually funny because it kind of reminds me of I don't know which marketer said this, but it's something about how the packaging of like a product like changes how you like experience it. And like this is especially the case in like food, but I sort of wonder, as you said, like a pirate LLM or some sort of UI or some sort of design on top of it, does it sort of make the outputs feel better or more real, like even though the model hasn't really changed?
yeah, no, so I don't know if this is what you're referring to, but I really like the medium is the message, where basically the book talks about how to advertise in print versus TV, right? Which is kind of a different thing. If you look at a print ad versus a Super Bowl ad, they're targeting different people in a different way. So yeah, you got to adapt to the times, baby.
It's funny because I see Anthropic ads and they definitely kind of like a rustic kind of feel to them.
Yeah.
I see them all the time in London Underground. I feel like they're trying to be a little bit creative, you know.
No, I mean, I don't really see many billboards for OpenAI, but I do see a lot for Anthropic around here. It's funny. What I see often is companies that are working with OpenAI telling you that they're working with OpenAI and that you should be as well. I think I saw a Stripe billboard And the entire premise of the billboard was, well, we helped OpenAI scale. Why aren't you using Stripe? It's a pretty good advertising pitch.
Yeah, I think you don't really get that many like built like AI billboards in London. Like, I see Anthropic, but when I went to San Francisco, it's crazy. You get like all these different AI things when you're coming in. Yeah.
It really is crazy. Well, I'm just curious. Have you ever had a Dell?
I think I've used them in school, but I can't really remember like actually like buying a Dell.
Yeah. You gotta love it. I don't think I've ever had a Dell either, but I think our school, the wall of computers was all Dell computers with the Dell monitor. So
What did
shout out.
what did Dell actually do with an AI?
So what they're kind of banking on, it would appear, is not only these AI PCs. So I see that they partnered, for example, with Intel to release AI PCs, which are basically just PCs that have been spec'd up specifically for these machine learning tasks. So like a better GPU than you would normally have in a laptop, or a whole lot of RAM so you can run your model, those kind of things. And then as well, Dell has an enterprise side. So they are offering these AI solutions as part of whether it's your server, your software, your hardware, and they're using AI there as well.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, very cool. Was there a story you wanted to talk about, Roman?
Sure. Let me share my screen. Okay, so this is Runway's latest tool. I'm not sure if this was possible before, but I used to run a record label, and this was the
We gotta
hardest
talk about
tool.
that one day. You used to run a record label? Wait. Okay, sorry for interrupting. Go ahead.
No. It's just like I co-founded it at university, and this was the most annoying thing ever. So like all the sort of formats of the videos,
Yeah.
you had to like play around with the positioning to get them on different socials. Like Facebook's different than Instagram, Instagram's different than like events, like stuff like that. But
Mhm.
Romo actually brought something out which allows you to expand the videos. So as you can see here, this is
Oh my God. When you said expand, I thought they were going to add some frames before and after. Oh, wow. Okay. That's cool. Okay. So now you can take that short video and, oh my God. All right. Well, we're entering a weird world, man. Because now, in theory, I can take a video of you, like maybe at a conference, crop it to just your face talking, and I can put you anywhere talking.
yeah.
That's pretty fun.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how people on short form or YouTube use it, because like traditionally you can't upload shorts to YouTube and sort of vice versa. But I'm guessing now it's kind of you can make one piece of content and you can put it anywhere.
Yeah, no, I mean, we talked about the company that is building the AI application for people to create ads for their video games, and that company specifically targeting like indie and low budget studios because it costs a lot of money to make a nice ad, and they're offering this AI solution where you just plug your game in and it'll come out with an ad for you. And I'm wondering if we're going to start to see people stacking these products on top of each other in marketing functions, where maybe you go to Runway, ChatGPT, DALL-E, Midjourney to create an original image. Then you take that image, maybe you pass it into an image to video model. Then you take that video and you pass it into something like this Runway Expand to expand the video and make it more performant. I could kind of see like it's almost like when you watch an artist use Photoshop, they have to have multiple layers to it. There's multiple tools they use. I think that in terms of like digital marketing, this is really a game changer.
Yeah, I wonder if you can kind of get feedback in the loop with the engagement, so you can sort of train Stable Diffusion or anything to be like, okay, we A to B test like 100 different ads. The
Yeah.
one we've moved this expand to be slightly like here, it does 10% better, 10% better. You know, it's like an arms race of
Oh man, wait. I mean, you got some interesting ideas today. I don't know what was in your coffee.
yeah.
I'm loving it. Because yeah, I think that that's kind of the future, right? As you teach your model to upscale it and then you have a A/B test where on one of them you upscaled it to the left and right, on the other one you upscaled it up and down, and you see which one performs better.
Do you think it's kind of immoral though? So it's kind of because kind of in like a sense you're like optimizing for attention. So it's like you get to a point where it's just like, yeah, I guess you're creating the most addictive ads.
So I think yes, it is immoral, right? That's just I don't think that there's any kind of word salad that you can toss to make advertising like a ethical thing. At the end of the day, there's people who are trying to get you to spend your money on their product, and like how would they go about that can sometimes not be the best, right? But I think I also am a little blinded to perhaps the vulnerabilities here because I am an AI. So when I see the AI generated image when I'm scrolling through Instagram, I know it's AI generated. But I've hung out with people like my dad who will send me like, "Have you seen this giraffe that has zebra spots?"
Yeah,
And I'm like, "Dad, that's not real." Like, so I think there's definitely people that are going to be taken advantage of, right? Because I know you've seen, for example, the like, I'm going to get Gordon Ramsay to advertise my drop shipping business, right?
yeah,
And there's no real recourse there. And then it can also get weirder for like taking someone's likeness, right? Because what if I train a model of Gordon Ramsay, but I change his eye color? Is that still him? Okay, what if I change his eye color and his lip color and the shape of his, like, how many changes do you have to make before it's not Gordon Ramsay?
yeah, yeah. It's kind of dangerous territory for me because the first like TikToks that did well for me was creating AI famous people. But
So
yeah,
you would create like Will Smith eating spaghetti?
I did do some stuff like that, but
Right.
I think the things that did well for me on TikTok, like when I did get a lot of engagement, was I was doing a podcast very early between like Socrates and like Elon Musk and stuff like that. But
Oh,
yeah,
you
yeah, it's cool. It was cool at the time, but like kind of taking a step back, it's like okay, like it's a bit in the gray area, but yeah, it is interesting.
no, I think the ethics around LLMs is something that we kind of just typically as a society just move past and don't really worry about. But it's a super interesting conversation, right? Even around the data, like, is this ethical? The harvesting someone's data so that then you can ask a question, like for a medical condition, for example, right? Where someone else has been through that condition and you being able to ask that question now gives you a better chance of survival. But at what point does their privacy end? And it's like, no, I don't want you to know that I had to go through XYZ. It's like a very interesting kind of utilitarian versus agency question.
Yeah, yeah, because I guess you can you can kind of hide the data, so like you can kind of generate data to kind of get the same results, but it's like even like can you ever really hide it for like a massive amount of people? Like it's still going to have the same sort of like patterns within it.
Yeah, I mean it's like anytime there's something on the internet, there's someone who's going to figure out a way to access it. I think that has been shown time and time again. Now, this is a really cool story.
Yeah, and just kind of going back to the podcast thing, I actually saw 11 Labs brought out something
Yeah.
very today. Yeah, I don't know how much of it we're going to watch, but basically it just kind of seems like
Yeah.
we're going to have custom podcasts, which I
Yeah.
thought was quite interesting.
Interesting. So it's almost like podcast LLM, but with your own content.
To be fair, it's only 1 minute long.
Yeah. This is a nice video.
Really good.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
I feel like they're kind of going into sort of character AI territory.
Okay. Elaborate on that point.
Like here, it kind of seems like you can kind of talk to like made up characters, and this kind of like it was really surprising to me that I think character AI is like maybe the first or second most used website. I can't remember the exact stats on it, but they're like a lot higher than what you think. Like a lot of people want to roleplay.
Yeah, no, I think ooh, this opens up like another box of worms. I'm so glad we had this discussion because now I have like 7 things I want to talk to you about, like especially philosophy. But one box of worms it opens up is kind of the loneliness epidemic that is causing people to use some of these tools, right? Because for like a podcast app, I love the idea of I have a blog post, turn it into a podcast. But then when it starts to become, let me talk to my imaginary friend as opposed to interacting with other human beings, it starts to feel kind of like you said, is that ethical? Especially when I can make the texts so addicting and engaging and designed specifically to get you to respond to them.
It's kind of a weird subject, so sorry to bring it up, but I think it's
Yeah,
kind
I love it.
of,
Let's get weird, baby.
I guess the thing that everyone's kind of leaning towards is it gonna replace like romantic partners? I think there's definitely going to be a big chunk of people
Yeah.
fall in love with
Mhm.
AI applications.
Yeah. I think that there's certainly like just statistically, if you look at the numbers, there's a certain amount of people who are either like socially isolated or romantically isolated. And these tools are going to be better than nothing for them, I think. So they're probably going to be drawn to those tools, right? I mean, I know, for example, Snapchat has an AI.
Yeah.
I recently got on Snapchat. I have a lot of friends and family that are on there, so I want to get involved. And I asked them, "What do you use the AI for?" And a lot of them were like, "You just talk to it when you're bored." It's like the same way that you might scroll social media or play solitaire or read a book almost. It's just like a way to pass time. And it kind of fascinated me because I was like, maybe it's because I know how this works that I would not find that very entertaining. Like some of my most interesting moments are asking ChatGPT those questions like, given what you know about me, give me advice that you think I need to hear, or something like that. I like those conversations because I think the machine has some insights that maybe I've given it that no one else has, right? But the conversations where it's like, hey, how are you doing? How's your day? And you're kind of pretending like it's another human being, that creeps me out a bit.
It sounds bad, but I don't really see any humanity in it. Like I don't really. I don't feel like I'm very kind to it. If that's like it's just like I don't see it. I feel like if I knew less about it, maybe I could kind of see it as a
Yeah.
yeah yeah.
Where ignorance is bliss, I think, in these situations, man. Unfortunately, we know a little too much to like be like, I'm not going to let a probabilistic function become my new friend. But it could be a good training wheels for people, right?
Sorry, oh,
Oh, no worries. Hey, mom, she could have
yeah.
joined. Uh, if you're like worried about that right now, then I think learning how to text people, learning how to romantically text, right? Because a lot of these skills are things that people normally learn by watching others. And now that there's not as many like social situations, if you're 35 and you want to learn this stuff, then yeah, sure. I could see the use of like texting a fake romantic partner to learn how to text. But that model better be trained really properly, right? Because if what you're learning is like, I should send 13 texts in a row because that's what's best for me, and then you try that in the real world, it's like there's going to be a bit of a disconnect.
But could they? I guess they can optimize it for engagement, but I guess if it's a partner, they can optimize it for control and like manipulation. And like, how can we get these people to be angry about something?
No, I mean, you could imagine an AI dating app where, they randomly sample one out of 100 conversations and they show it to an actual human being and they say, hey, are you attracted to the picture of this person? Well, imagine if this person texted you this, rank it from 1 to 10. And like you could pretty quickly get to a human in the loop automated kind of dating coach, right?
I just wonder. Do you think that's gonna be good? Like, even if I guess everyone's kind of romantically fulfilled, but like, are people going to speak to each other? Like, yeah, it just seems like it's going to go down a straight path.
My cautiously optimistic hope is that it's going to make things better than they are now. because I know that right now there's a real epidemic with just lack of human interaction. And I'm hoping that some of these tools can bring us closer to actually interacting with each other. I know that that's not always the case, but I definitely think that there's a strong community usually on, so like a lot of the people on social media that I know, I don't know, but if I saw them at a bar, we would have a conversation for hours, right? So maybe it's about starting to organize more IRL events around online communities. Um, because even like if you were Chat GPT, for example, why not just dedicate every third Friday of every month to, we're going to go to 150 cities in the world and have a Chat GPT meetup, something that brings humans together. I think that that's always better than stuff that's just digital.
I, do you feel like people want to meet people in real life? I feel like there's kind of like a set of people that just, I think they'd prefer to speak to something like ChatGPT in some sense.
So my harsh and perhaps what's the word I'm looking for? Uneducated opinion is that that's a cop out, and
Okay.
that no matter what personality you have, I can put you in a room with 9 other people with personalities that you would enjoy. Now, if you've ever been in a social group, you're not going to get along the best with everyone, right? There's the people who you tolerate, there's the people who you really like, there's people who you don't like that much, but they're part of the group, so whatever, you deal with it. And I think right now the problem is the cliff for entry is so high that people don't really even understand like how to get started, because this is something I'm dealing with a friend of mine who is maybe 32 years old and has always just been the guy who's on the computer. He didn't really make any friends, was, quiet, shy, and now he's looking to build out his social life. And my advice to him has been just go be consistently in the same places at the same times. So find a cafe near you every Thursday morning, just be in that cafe. Find somewhere to do yoga every Saturday, you're over there doing yoga, right? And just try to meet people. Don't try to like become someone's best friend or whatever. Just be there and eventually you'll make connections. When he describes to me him trying to go out to like the cafe, it sounds like he's going to like Normandy. And I'm like, like there's so many things he first has to get comfortable with before he can even get to the point of like striking up a conversation with a stranger, right? It's like there's a million different other things that he just hasn't thought about, that now he's like, oh, I have to dress. Oh, I have to take care of my hygiene. Oh, I have to do interesting things. So when I talk to people, I'm not just like, I played video games last night. Like it starts to stack up on itself very quickly. And I think that's a life most people want. This was a long-winded answer. I'm sorry. Like that most people want, but like getting there can be really difficult in today's world. Because yeah, if you go to the local bar, they're not just going to be like, hey dude, nice to meet you, random 32-year-old who smells a little weird and doesn't know how to keep eye contact.
I feel like I get where you're coming from, but I'm gonna slightly disagree because
Okay.
I think 100% like you have to build to that level to socialize. But I think if you give like a percent of people the sort of choice where okay, build to that level or just have all your social interactions through a chat GPT embodied, like maybe in like a few years when it's more advanced, they don't have to worry about hygiene, any of that. I do think there's still going to be a lot of people that would just prefer to sit in their room and kind of do all their social stuffs through the computer.
So do you think like currently in society, there's certain things we don't allow people to do, right? Do you think that that is going to be behavior that we allow people to participate in or even encourage participation in?
I think there's no way to enforce them to meet people. And I feel like if you don't enforce it, they're gonna go to what they prefer or what's less scary. Even though, like, if they build up to it and they do the social interactions, they might feel better in the long term. But I think as like a short term thing, I think they're definitely going to feel more comfortable and more safe with the.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we talked about a lot of things that I'd like to explore in future episodes, but do you have any other articles you wanted to talk about?
I think that's it from my side, unless you have anything.
No, just yeah, you've got my brain spinning, man.
Yeah.
Because it's really interesting to think about the podcast app, but now you can like talk to people inside of your podcast world. Like you could very easily design this world where you're not talking to anyone else, but it feels like you are. Like I don't know if you saw the fake Twitter where it's just like fake people on Twitter. So anyone can be Elon Musk basically, where when you tweet out like what's a good restaurant in Soho, you'll get replies from thousands of people, but they're all AI bots, right? But it was kind of cool to see like people who even are kind of popular on X be like, I want to use this tool because it's cool to just know anything you post is going to get engagement. And I think that that's part of the game that's being played as well, where some people are like, well, it's not going to get engagement, so I won't post it. But that's like a chicken and egg thing, right? Like if you don't post, you can't get engagement. So you just got to post.
I feel like the like that's why a lot of people have kind of moved to like Finsta, because it's like they don't want to have to worry about engagement.
Yep. I mean, and we see it on all the platforms where now you can hide your likes, you can hide the all those kind of things where it's like, yeah, people. And I think as long as it gets people to create more content, go ahead, right? I don't think that the goal should be when you're making content like I want 1 million views. It should be you're having fun and like putting out your opinion to the world. If you make money, great, but that shouldn't be the goal.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much for joining us today. We'll be back. Is the next episode's tomorrow, correct?
Tomorrow.
All right. I'll catch you guys tomorrow at the same time. Thank you for joining.
Thank you.